The Supreme Court is letting the Trump administration move forward for now with plans that could restrict mail-in voting before the midterm elections. The ruling is not a final decision on whether the plan is legal, but it could have big effects for voters and election officials.
That's right. We're joined live by constitutional law expert Robert McWhirter. Robert, thanks for being back with us this morning.
Good morning.
I'm sure you have your Constitution
He
nearby.
does. He already showed it to me in the break.
I know you do.
It's
You always
right there.
do. And you know, immediately when I heard this news yesterday, I said, Robert's going to say that the Constitution says voting is states' rights. What's going on here?
Well, the Constitution says voting is states' rights.
I knew it.
Specifically, and let's go to the owner's manual.
Let's do it.
1, Section 4. Times, place, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. There's another part that says Congress can make a statute, but the president can't do anything on his own. Now, Congress could pass a statute that allows the president to do things. That's why Donald Trump's been pushing the Save America Act, so-called, in order to give him statutory authority to do all this stuff. But absent that, the president has no power, and there's a good reason for that. The president is the only office in this country where everybody has a say in. I mean, through the Electoral College, but it's the only office everybody more or less votes on, right? The framers of our Constitution did not want to give that guy or gal the power to control the very elections under which they are chosen. So that's why states have this. It's a diffusion of power, and this is ultimately state sovereignty issues that the framers of the Constitution created to keep the president from rigging elections in his or her own favor. That's what the point of this is.
Well, break it down a little bit more for people who may not fully understand what's taken place here, because the president put in an executive order yesterday when this ruling came out. A lot of people thought then that this had gone in his favor. Now digging into it a little bit more, that may not fully be the case. Can you just break it down?
Sure. This is where you get your Supreme Court geek hat on.
Let's do it.
The justice. Okay. So you got the first ruling, and what it did is it overturned an injunction from a lower court, which had been upheld by the circuit courts, the different appellate courts. And the injunction stopped Donald Trump's, specifically his mail-in ballot crusade, that he doesn't like mail-in ballots, despite the fact that he uses a mail-in ballot when he votes in Florida elections. Okay. So there was an injunction against his order. The Supreme Court knocked the injunction down. That doesn't mean that there was a decision on the legality of his order. So that order could be totally illegal. And this is what Justice Sotomayor in her dissent with Justice Kagan said, look, this isn't even a ruling on the merits. This is just the stopping of the procedural issue. And on top of that, there's still another injunction from another court that hasn't been overturned yet. Now, ultimately, what this creates a problem is, let's say you're some postal carrier or a regional director of a post office. You've taken an oath to follow the law and the Constitution. And right now you've got a president telling you not to follow the law. Well, that's a federal crime. That's 18 U.S.C. 1703. When a postal employee interferes with the mail, that is a federal crime, and you could get 5 years in prison for that. Now, if I was advising that postal employee, I would tell him, hey, don't follow Donald Trump's executive order. You might get fired, but at least you won't be charged, and you'll have a nice big fat civil suit later on.
Okay, let's go back to you saying there's an injunction from another court, because essentially this means this plan is still blocked. For now, nothing changes, but we, of course, have the midterms coming up. Do you see us seeing more action in this case or related cases before the midterms?
Oh, yes, there's going to be a beehive of action. This case is a kind of a great full-time employment act for the lawyers involved. So, there's going to be a lot of employment for them. They're going to keep pushing this. They're going to seek to overturn the other injunction. And what this does, it sows a lot of kind of doubt into our elections, which are very fair. Now, you're going to get an interesting thing, too, which is a lot of Republicans don't want to do what Donald Trump does, because Republicans, including Donald Trump, vote as much or more than Democrats by mail. And so what you're doing is challenging people who were Republicans, who were voted by vote by mail. In Arizona, it's some 80% of people vote by mail. And so all of a sudden, this could hurt Republicans as much or more than it hurts Democrats, assuming that you could even do something administratively to implement this. So it just creates a continued mess. frankly, I can only see this as the president wanting to continue the narrative somehow that he was wrongly cheated in the 2020 election and somehow vote by mail was the cause when there's no evidence to show that.
Right.
All right. Well, Robert, I'm so glad we have you to break this down
You
for us.
and your Constitution.
Yes. Appreciate you being here this morning.
Appreciate it.